Hello, ladies. Welcome back to Menopause on the Mic, the official podcast of the Menopause Mafia, where hot flashes are frequent, patience is low, and the tolerance for nonsense has officially left the building. I'm your host, Misty Graham, resident hormone survivor, professional overthinker, and the woman who will absolutely cry in a grocery store and then go buy snacks to make myself feel better about it later. This is the place where I talk about perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, but I do it with humor, honesty, and just enough attitude to keep us from completely losing our minds. Because let's be real, if we don't laugh, we're going to end up in the grocery store on aisle 3 having a major meltdown. And so it's definitely appropriate that today's episode is titled Menopause, the Grocery Store, and Why Instacart Exists. Now, have you ever gone to the grocery store for like 3 or 4 things, but somehow ended up emotionally unstable, uncontrollably sweating for no reason at all, pondering your life choices, holding on to something you absolutely did not plan to buy, and standing in self-checkout like your brain just filed for divorce? Well, I have. And that's when I realized something very important. The grocery store is not a place for commerce. It's a live, interactive, up-close and personal simulation of menopause. I didn't go shopping when I was there. I went through a psychological experience that left me emotionally unstable and sweating like I was being interrogated by the FBI. And the craziest part about the whole thing? The second that I grabbed a cart and walked through those automatic sliding doors, it began. It was like my hormones clocked in, cracked their knuckles, and said, "All right, sister, I'm about to make this shit crazier than when you spent 45 minutes trying to read the menu at a dimly lit restaurant using your phone's flashlight like a search and rescue team." Because from that moment on, every aisle became a symptom, every item became a coping mechanism, and every decision became a risk. So come with me on this wild ride and let's go shopping together. Just kidding. I walked through those sliding glass doors and was immediately assaulted by the sheer audacity of a display of kumquats. I stood there staring at him for, 3 or 4 solid minutes, trying to remember if a kumquat was a fruit or a derogatory term for a bad driver. And honestly, the math just stopped adding up. I didn't even make it past the produce area before things started to unravel in front of the peaches. I picked one up, and then I looked at it and metaphorically thought, this is me. Cute on the outside, soft, sweet. And then in the next moment, I'm bruising easily, needing to be handled with care. And in the middle, I'm dealing with the hard pit of unresolved issues. But then I snapped out of it and I thought, okay, this is way too much. I should not be bonding with produce like this. So then the next stop I decided was the pre-cut fruit section. I used to scoff at people who paid $12 for a watermelon someone else hacked up. But now, I see it for what it is, a court-mandated safety precaution. So listen, if you're navigating the hormonal Hunger Games, that pre-cut tub is the only thing standing between you and a starring role on Snapped. With a hot flash currently melting my bra and enough brain fog to make me forget my own middle name, the last thing I need is a 10-inch blade and a reason. I'm not just buying strawberries, I'm buying an alibi. I'd rather overpay for a pineapple than have Keith Morrison narrating my afternoon while leaning against a mailbox. No, ma'am. In this scenario, we're going to go ahead and let someone else cube the cantaloupe. After surviving the pre-cut fruit section without a felony charge, I head on over to the bag salad section, otherwise known as the aisle of delusional ambition. When I grab the chopped kale salad kit, I'm not just buying lunch. I'm buying a new identity. I'm thinking, hey, look at me. I'm making healthy choices. But we all know that salad is destined to die a slow, lonely, painful death in the back of the crisper drawer, begging for a balsamic vinaigrette that's never coming. And that version of me, the one who actually eats the kale, is a complete work of fiction. She's gorgeous, she's hydrated, and she's absolutely full of shit. So next up, we head over to where the eggs are, otherwise known as the ticking time bombs of the dairy aisle. You open the carton like you're defusing a grenade because one tiny jolt and it's over. You're standing there staring at 12 eggs thinking, stable, traumatized, circling the drain. It's basically a lineup of my personality traits since 2022. But once you accept that you're just one runny yolk away from losing your entire mind, you do the only logical thing. You pivot from maintaining the facade to self-medicating with pastries. Because while therapy is expensive, a grocery store cupcake is only $4 and it doesn't ask me about my childhood. So we head on over to the bakery, or as I like to call it, the pharmacy of carbohydrates. If you think I'm here for the treats, you clearly haven't seen my hormone chart lately. You ever hold a red velvet cupcake and wait for it to tell you that everything's going to be okay? Because the bakery is the only department that doesn't judge. It doesn't suggest better choices or remind you that your genes are already screaming for mercy. It just gives you a sugary hug and says, screw that salad, sister, you deserve a trophy, but since we're out of those, take this lemon tart instead. Now back to being gloriously unpredictable. Somehow, we've ended up in the spice aisle, which makes sense because nothing screams menopause like being cinnamon sweet one second and ghost pepper lethal the next. Most of the time, I'm vibrating somewhere in the middle like saffron. I'm expensive, I'm confusing, and honestly, nobody in the house has a clue what to do with me. So here I am, reading labels like I'm about to perform an exorcism on my own personality. I'm grabbing ginger for the stress, nutmeg for the insomnia, and cumin for mindfulness. At this point, I'm just standing there buying spices like I'm trying to season my hormones like a Thanksgiving turkey. I came in for milk, and I'm leaving prepared to dry rub my way out of a midlife crisis. Now, just when I think I've regained an ounce of control, I hit the cereal aisle, the place where dignity goes to die. Why are there 9,000 fucking options? This isn't breakfast. It's a Myers-Briggs test in a cardboard box. Am I the fiber-focused gut health is my entire personality woman? Or am I the I want a cartoon mascot and zero accountability kind of girl? Maybe I'm the this says protein, so I'll pretend I have discipline fraud. I stood there so long, clutching a box of bran like a life raft, that a man actually asked if I work there. No, Greg, I'm not on the payroll. I'm just having a midlife crisis between the Frosted Flakes and the Raisin Bran. I am currently oscillating between wanting to live forever and wanting to eat a bowl of pure nostalgia until I go into a sugar coma. At this point, I'm so overstimulated, sweating through my shirt, and currently vibrating with unaddressed rage. So naturally, what do? I head on over to the deli. Here, the guy behind the glass is so polite, and he gently asks me what I want. And suddenly, my internal hard drive just clicks. Off. I'm staring at the roast beef like it holds the secrets to the universe. And when he asks me about slicing preference, I just want to scream, dealer's choice, Jeff. I don't have the emotional bandwidth for shaved versus ribbon cut. And I'm one question away from telling him my life story and crying all over the glass case. I leave that counter feeling like I just passed the bar exam and clutching a bag of ham I didn't fully commit to, wondering if I even own any bread. And if that wasn't bad enough, somehow it gets worse. I've reached the yogurt section. This is where I pretend that my digestive system isn't currently an active crime scene. My gut is the same organ that told me it was totally fine to drink a venti latte before a 3-hour Target run, only to stage a violent coup in the middle of the home decor aisle that had me sprinting towards the restroom like I was chasing a fleeing suspect through the store. My gut has overreacted, underreacted, and publicly humiliated me more times than I care to count. It is not a reliable source. It is a biological terrorist. And I'm supposed to trust a probiotic promise from a peach-flavored cup? Hell no. My gut is an agent of chaos. It's untrustworthy, unpredictable, and frankly, I think it's plotting against me. But I'm still standing here analyzing active cultures like I'm a scientist, pretending I'm about to turn my life around one spoonful of fermented dairy at a time. And now, next up is the wine section, otherwise known as the judgment-free juice bar. Some days, I'm the woman who wants one sophisticated glass with dinner. Other days, I'm the woman who wants you to keep pouring until I lose my ability to care about the laundry. We respect this aisle because it's the only one that doesn't lie to us. It knows that today wasn't a one-glass day. Today was the neighbors are definitely going to hear the recycling bin clinking tomorrow kind of day. Grab the big bottle, sister. We've earned it. Now, as I'm wandering aimlessly through the store, I decide to head on down to the pharmacy aisle, otherwise known as the Cemetery of Lost Hope. You walk in like a woman on the mission. Where is the pill that fixes the hot flashes, the mood swings, the insomnia, and the sudden overwhelming urge to move to a cave in the woods and never speak to another human again? And the bottles, what do? They stare back at you with peak audacity. Have you tried magnesium? Maybe drink some water, do a little stretch, and go for a brisk walk. Wow, life-changing advice, Walgreens. I don't need a supplement. I need a time machine and a sedative. I've officially realized that hope is not for sale in a 60-count bottle. And just as I'm accepting that my check engine light is on for good, my hormones decide to throw a party. Quick, make her sweat like she's lying on a lie detector test. So what do? I decide the freezer section, otherwise known as the emergency cooling station, would be a good next stop. I rip open that glass door and stand there with my arms out like Rose on the front of the Titanic. Only instead of Jack, I'm letting that sweet sub-zero air bring me back to life. I look like I'm auditioning for Frozen 3, the Menopause edition, and I don't give a damn who's watching. I don't even need frozen peas. I just need to not be on fire. There are people behind me waiting to grab their pizza rolls, and I'm staring them down like, don't touch this handle or I will end you. This is survival. If they put a recliner in this aisle, I'd have my mail forwarded here and never look back. But eventually, someone clears their throat, and I have to stop pretending that I live in the freezer and I go to finish the war I started. So now that my cart is full, my patience is gone, my hormones are fully activated, and I'm just trying to make it out alive, somewhere in the middle of all of that, I remember, I actually came in here for something. I walked in with a list, a plan, a purpose. And I am now leaving with none of those items, several emotional decisions, and zero recollection of why I'm actually here. And at this point, the list was just more of a suggestion that was written by a woman who thought she was going to come in here, just grab a few things, and leave like a normal person. And now I've reached the final stage. The part of the trip where everything is on the line, where the pressure is real and the margin for error is gone. This is known as the self-checkout line. Why does this feel like a final exam? Like, I didn't study for this, nobody prepared me for this, but there are rules, there are beeps, and there is confusion, mostly from me. And before I can even pretend I know what I'm doing, bing! The electronic voice yells, "Unexpected item in the bagging area." Yes, I know. That is me. I am the unexpected item. And now I'm sweating, I'm scanning things wrong, removing them, putting them back, typing in the wrong code for the peach I bought, and the machine is judging me the entire time, loudly. There's a long line forming behind me, people are watching, and now I'm apologizing like I personally caused the invention of low-rise jeans. And I hear myself muttering, "I'm so sorry, I don't know why I'm like this." And the machine is then like, "Please wait for assistance." No, I do not want assistance. Do not call anyone over here. Just let me fail in peace. But then, just when I think it can't get any worse, I remember. I was trying to be responsible today, which clearly did not go as planned. But at this point, I'm just going to take whatever fucking wins I can get. I may not have control over my hormones, but I will be damned if I'm not going to save $1.50 on almond milk. Because at this point, I am trying to salvage something, anything from this godforsaken trip. Financial stability, Emotional stability, dignity. But here I am holding up the line again, like, wait, I have a coupon. I just need a second. Meanwhile, everyone behind me is like, ma'am, can you please pick a struggle? And I'm like, I have. It's all of them. And just then, I think I finally made it. I survived the aisles. I've tried to manage my emotions. I've kept it together. Barely. I can see the exit. I can feel freedom. I can feel the feeling of sitting in my car in silence. And then it happens. It hits me out of nowhere. Cleanup at the end of checkout aisle 3. This is a full-blown hormonal system failure in public. This is not a spill. This is not a drill. This is tears I did not authorize and rage with no clear target. Confusion about why I'm holding hummus, and a sudden need to sit down immediately. This is me standing at the end of the checkout aisle like, I don't know what's happening, but it's happening hard. My emotions hit the floor, my dignity has clocked out, and now a 19-year-old with a mop has been called in to manage my breakdown. There are witnesses, someone's pretending not to look, someone is looking, and it's the woman one checkout aisle over. She gets it. Our eyes lock for half a second. She gives a gentle nod of the head and a smile and is like, sorry, sister, it's your turn today. And in that moment, standing there, slightly disoriented, holding grocery bags full of decisions I don't remember making, I remember something very important. I didn't mess up. I didn't lose my mind. I just went grocery shopping during menopause. And that, my friends, is an extreme sport. Because we are out here surviving hot flashes in produce, identity crises in cereal, emotional breakdowns near self-checkout, and still making it out of the store alive with snacks and dignity, barely. So, the next time you're in the grocery store, carrying yourself around like a lady but fully prepared to go Laura Croft on someone if necessary, and you hear, clean up at the end of checkout aisle 3, pause for one brief moment, say a little prayer, and know that one of us didn't make it out in time. And that, my friends, is my explanation of a full-blown hormonal obstacle course adventure, otherwise known as a trip to the grocery store. So if any of this sounds way too familiar, just know you're not alone, you're not losing it, and you're definitely not the only one standing in public wondering what the hell just happened. We are all out here doing our best. Some of us are just currently navigating life with a shopping cart that has one bad wheel and a mind of its own. So if this made you laugh, or you can somewhat relate, please send this episode to a friend who is also emotionally bonded with a bakery item. Because sharing is caring, and honestly, we need witnesses. And if you haven't already, please make sure you follow, subscribe, and share, because around here, I say the things everyone else is thinking, but are sweating too much to say. So until next time, stay hydrated, stay sarcastic, and if things go sideways, some days you shop, and some days you let Instacart handle it. This is Graham, and this is Menopause on the